say that you had to fight somebody who was substantially taller than you, substantially larger than you, and substantially better at fighting than you were. Now, this person was really good at fighting, but they weren't really good at anything else they did. But even though they weren't good at anything else, they were really good at fighting. And so if you had to fight them, you would definitely, absolutely lose. Now, just because you lose to this one person who's really good at fighting doesn't mean they're better than you as a person, it doesn't mean they're more successful as you, and it doesn't mean that they would beat you in every other area of competition. The reality is, just because they're better at one specific area doesn't necessarily mean they would beat you in every area. The same situation is currently happening between the United States and China. See, the topic that I've been asked to answer today is, would China win a rare earth mineral trade war? The simple answer to this question is yes. China would win a rare earth mineral trade war. But that's because China's one thing that they're really good at is rare earth minerals. But that in no way means that China is a better economy, a better country, or that they're going to win the general trade war with the United States. See, the reasoning behind this point, we're going to see why this is true through 3 points. First, we're going to see that China has a specific product advantage when we look at rare earth minerals. Secondly, how China is an authoritarian regime, which means they have a unique advantage when we look at rare earth minerals. And thirdly, because we're looking at the trade war, we have to see what this means for the United States, for our economy, and most importantly, for our citizens. Now, if you haven't heard recently in the news, there's currently a trade war going on between the United States and China. And ABC News reported on June 2nd of 2019, so just recently, that this trade war is happening for 2 specific reasons. First, President Trump is stating that China is artificially lowering or manipulating their currency, meaning that they're devaluing it so they're able to sell their products more cheaply into the United States. The result is that their products are artificially cheaper. And the second thing is that China is stealing intellectual property rights. In turn, China, or the United States, President Trump, has opposed tariffs against China, a retaliation against these 2 things, which are fundamentally illegal against international trade law and also harm the United States economy. So that's why the trade war is happening, generally the idea. But when we're looking specifically about what this question is asking, it's not even asking generally about the United States trade war. All this question asks is, if there was an instance where we had a trade war with China that was only looking at rare earth minerals, would China win a rare earth mineral trade war? The simple answer is yes. And we're seeing this through the first 2 points. So the first is that China has a product advantage. Now, if you're like me, I didn't know much about rare earth minerals, specifically what they were, how they applied, when we're looking at this trade war. But the LA Times reported on June 2nd of 2019, recently again, that China has currently initiated, or they announced, that they were planning on possibly putting these tariffs on rare earth minerals. So that's why we're talking about this today. But the Atlantic Council reported on July 31st of last year, explaining what rare earth minerals were and why they mattered for the economy. That rare earth minerals are specifically used in electric cars, cell phones, wind turbines, and even advanced precision weapons. The Washington Post goes on to explain in June 7th of 2019 that, for instance, one of these rare earth minerals is the chemical or mineral of lithium. This is one of the main components in modern batteries. So rare earth minerals are super important. While it's not a product that we're going to buy and sell, you're not going to go to the drugstore and buy some rare earth minerals, it's a product that you would use and get when you look at buying a cell phone, buying a regular battery, or even using our military to buy these advanced weapons. So we can see throughout this that this is a really important topic and a really important issue that we're looking at with the trade war with China. But the reason it's significant and why China has a product advantage, the LA Times explained. See, China currently contains over 1/3 of the world's rare earth mineral supplies, and it provides over 80% of the United States' rare earth mineral imports, according to a US Geological Survey conducted in 2019. What this means is that the United States is really dependent upon China in order to get these rare earth minerals into our economy. This is significant when we look at how a trade war works. Because in order for a trade war to happen, the United States puts tariffs on China. Then China retaliates and puts more tariffs on the United States. But the impact of a trade war is that when the United States puts tariffs on China, the price of their goods coming into the United States increases. Now, the idea is that that's going to harm the Chinese economy because their businesses won't make as much money because they can't sell as many products into the United States. But when we look at the United States and China with rare earth minerals, the United States putting tariffs on trade with rare earth minerals with China isn't going to end up harming their nation. It's going to end up harming our own nation significantly more. And here's why. Because China has so many more rare earth minerals than the United States, if we put tariffs on their imports, yes, it's going to harm their economy a little bit, but the main result is that their rare earth minerals are going to cost more coming into the United States. And the result of that is that our businesses are going to have to pay more in order to buy things such as lithium, meaning that our computers are going to cost more, our cell phones are going to cost more, our batteries are going to cost more. Virtually everything that we buy is going to cost substantially more. Not only is that going to harm United States businesses because they won't be able to buy things as cheaply, meaning what they make is going to be more expensive, but that's also going to harm our consumers. But the other result, the contrast of that, is what would happen if China implemented tariffs against the United States for rare earth minerals. See, China may see a little economic impact if they implemented tariffs against the United States, but in general, China has over 1/3 of rare earth minerals. They don't need the United States as rare earth minerals, so their businesses aren't really going to be harmed. Meaning when we look at if we instigated or initiated this trade war with China on the basis of rare earth minerals, we would not win that trade war. But the second reason applies more generally to trade wars with China. It's that China is an authoritarian regime. China has a really unique advantage when we look at trade wars. Because China, according to The Economist, specifically says that Xi Jinping declared himself president for life, which is kind of ironic, being president for life. But the reason this is important is because China is an authoritarian regime, that means that the leader of China doesn't have to succumb to the will of the people. So even if their economy is being devastated and destroyed, that doesn't necessarily mean that Xi Jinping is going to be kicked out of office. That means they're able to withstand longer harms from trade wars than the United States. Because in the United States, if our country and our economy is in disaster, our elected leaders are going to get kicked out of office. And we're going to elect different people because that's what the will of the people wants. But that's not what's going to happen in China, which means they have a very unique advantage when we look at these kind of instances of winning trade wars against the United States. But this leads me to my third and final point. Because yes, we can say that China would win a rare earth mineral trade war, but that's not really what's currently happening within the globe. So the third point is what this means. See, I think that China would win a rare earth mineral trade war, but currently what's happening in the United States economy is a full-blown trade war with China. Just as we look at the fighter who was really good at fighting but not good at anything else, it's the same thing with China. They're really good at rare earth minerals. That's their strong suit. But that in no way means that they're a stronger economy, a better country, or going to generally win the trade war against the United States. In reality, the United States has a much significantly stronger economy, being the highest and top economy in the globe. Not only that, but we have immense soft power and influence on a global scale. And for that reason, the United States should not back down against China just because they're threatening to put tariffs on their rare earth minerals. Rather, we should recognize that China is legitimately violating international trade laws. They are legitimately harming our economy. And it is our place within our global stance as an economy, within our global stance as a country, not to back down because China may have an advantage in one specific area, but rather to recognize that in order to protect our country, our economy, and most importantly, our citizens, the United States has to stand up for itself and its people. Thank you.
Do I go up now?
Thank you.
All right, so first and foremost, congratulations.
Thank you.
Obviously, I just have a couple questions for you. First off, have any tariffs actually been applied to rare earth minerals between the US and China?
Yeah, so tariffs haven't actually been applied, but we look into an article from The Economist in just June 3rd of this year. They specifically stated that Chinese Secretary of Foreign Affairs announced that he was going to recently or soon place tariffs upon United States rare mineral exports coming into the United States.
Sure. So could we reasonably assume that tariffs will be applied to rare earth minerals?
Yes, absolutely. The Secretary of Foreign Affairs specifically said that they announced that they were going to place these tariffs upon rare earth minerals, which will likely occur pretty soon.
All right, so how many products do US citizens buy which contain rare earth minerals?
So there isn't a specific number of products that the United States buy that contain rare earth minerals, but The Economist and NPR and the LA Times specifically stated that there are over 80% of the United States rare earth mineral products or rare earth minerals comes from China.
Sure. So if tariffs were applied to rare earth minerals, would US citizens be significantly harmed?
likely they would be significantly harmed. But the reality is that even though we would be harmed in the short term, the outcome or the benefit of holding out this trade war to protect our businesses. Because if we give up when our citizens are harmed significantly in the short term, that means that China is going to continue its illegal practices and continue to even further harm United States citizens.
Gotcha. So if we could step away from the rare earth minerals part of the trade war, who is winning the trade war right now between the US and China?
The United States is currently winning the trade war with China. We can see this specifically even when we look at economic growth. According to an article from LA Times and the Washington Post, they specifically talked about how China is seeing the most economic decrease that it's seen in decades. That's completely as a result of the tariffs that the United States has been putting on China.
All right, so could we state that if the tariff war continued, that the United States economy would continue to grow?
If the trade war with China continued, would the United States economy be able
Yes.
to grow? The United States economy may be a little bit harmed when we look at the short-term trade war, but in the long run, if we end up harming the United States or preventing China's illegal practices, it would end up helping and benefiting our economy.
So it's still worth it for the United States then, correct?
Absolutely.
All right, so one last question. Is there anyone here who would beat you in a fight?
Yeah, there's one person who I think would beat me in a fight, and that person is Jack Singer.
All right, thank you. No further questions.